6 Minute English.
From BBC Learning English.
Hello, this is 6 Minute English from BBC Learning English. I'm Sam.
And I'm Neil. Woo! Trick or treat.
For listeners at home, Neil is dressed up as a ghost. He's wearing a white bedsheet over his head with 2 holes cut out for his eyes, which must mean...
It's Halloween. The start of autumn, when the days get shorter and leaves fall from the trees, marks Halloween, a festival which is celebrated all over the world at this time of year. In Britain, people carve scary faces into pumpkins, and children go trick-or-treating, dressing up in fancy dress costumes and visiting people's homes, shouting trick-or-treat for sweets and candy.
Halloween comes from an ancient festival called Samhain, which celebrated the changing of the seasons, a time when it was believed the dead could make contact with the living, which is why children dress up as ghosts, witches and other scary monsters.
But recently, online shops have removed several Halloween costumes, including creepy clown masks and real-life serial killer costumes, after parents complained they were too frightening. In this programme, we'll be discussing whether Halloween is no longer harmless fun, and, as usual, we'll be learning some new vocabulary as well.
But before that, and since you're all dressed up as a ghost, Neil, my question is this. Why did people traditionally dress up in costumes on Halloween? Was it A, to scare their neighbours as a joke, B, to use up their old clothes, or C, to hide from ghosts?
I think it was to hide from ghosts.
OK, Neil, we'll find out the answer later in the programme. In recent years, Halloween has become more influenced by American horror movies like Friday the 13th or Scream. Some parents now think Halloween costumes are too scary and over the top, a phrase meaning too extreme and unsuitable. Mother of 2, Joanne O'Connell, was shocked when she took her 10-year-old daughters shopping for Halloween costumes. Here she explains what she saw to BBC Radio 4 programme You and Yours.
They've seen decorations of small children holding a teddy bear covered in blood. They've seen what's described as a standing animated decoration, which looks like a dead girl carrying a knife. And various grim reapers, creepy clowns, and stuff that kids are now finding frightening, and even to an adult they look pretty vile actually. And I think it feels like retailers, there's some kind of race to the bottom for the grimmest, most vile, sickening outfit so that they can just make money out of.
Joanne was horrified by Halloween costumes of the Grim Reaper, an imaginary skeleton who wears a long black cloak, carries a sharp cutting tool, and represents death. She's worried that costumes like this are too frightening for little children.
Nowadays, Halloween is big business, and Joanne thinks that the focus on money encourages shops in a race to the bottom, a phrase which describes a situation where companies compete with each other to sell as many products as cheaply as possible. The phrase is connected to the idea of standards getting worse and worse.
But come on, Sam, isn't this going too far? I mean, Halloween is supposed to be scary.
Yeah, parents don't want to stop people having fun, but over-the-top costumes are too scary for younger children, and some mums say they will no longer open the door to trick-or-treaters because the costumes are giving children nightmares. Siobhan Freegard, founder of the parenting website Channel Mum, thinks a compromise is needed. Here she is talking to BBC Radio 4's You and Yours.
There's a sort of a halfway house, isn't there? I mean, I know everyone refers to the new generation as the snowflake generation, and we shouldn't be so worried about our little darlings. But there's a point beyond which it becomes tasteful or appropriate.
Siobhan thinks that scary costumes are okay for teenagers, but she also wants to protect younger children. She thinks we need to find a halfway house, a compromise or arrangement which includes features of 2 opposing ideas.
She also uses the expression the snowflake generation, a phrase which is sometimes used to describe the generation of young people who became adults in or after the 2010s and who are considered by some to be easily upset and offended.
Now I can see how some costumes are over the top, and I don't want to spoil Halloween for anyone, so I'll stick with my bedsheet ghost. Anyway, isn't it time for you to reveal the answer to your question, Sam?
Yes, I asked why people started dressing up at Halloween in the first place, and you said it was to hide from ghosts, which was the correct answer. Hundreds of years ago, people thought that ghosts would try to return to their old homes at Halloween. People wore masks so that the ghosts would mistake them for other spirits.
Okay, let's recap the vocabulary we've learned, starting with trick-or-treating, the Halloween tradition of dressing up in creepy costumes and knocking on neighbours' doors, shouting trick-or-treat for sweets and candy.
Over the top describes something which is too extreme, unsuitable or unacceptable.
The Grim Reaper is an imagined representation of death and looks like a skeleton in a long black cloak.
A race to the bottom happens when companies compete with each other in order to sell as many products as cheaply as possible.
A halfway house is a compromise which includes features of two contrasting ideas.
And finally, the snowflake generation is used by some people to refer to the present generation of young people who they think lack resilience and are easily upset. Enjoy Halloween and don't get too scared. Bye for now.
Bye.
6 Minute English.
From BBC Learning English.
Hello and welcome to 6 Minute English. I'm Neil, and joining me today is Dan, who is looking very jolly.
Of course I'm looking jolly, meaning happy and smiley. It's my favourite time of the year.
Ah, yes, all that food, all those presents, all that fun.
Forget the food and fun. Christmas is all about the presents.
I'm not sure that's quite the spirit, the real meaning of something.
Well, Neil, I was actually talking about giving presents, not getting them.
Ah, sorry, Dan, I misjudged you. As you enjoy giving presents so much, I'm very pleased to have you with me in this 6 Minute English. Our topic, what makes the perfect Santa? We'll have 6 items of vocabulary for you and, of course, our quiz question. Are you ready?
Hit me.
Okay, here we go. How many Santas are there in the world? Is it A, 1,500, B, 15,000, or C, 15 million?
Well, I know there are a lot, but 15 million must be wrong. 1,500 seems too few, so I'll go for 15,000.
Well, we'll see if you're right at the end of the programme. Now, Dan, you seem like a strong candidate for a job as Santa. Ever considered it?
I'd love to. A candidate is a person competing for a job.
And what do you think is a key part of being Santa, or Father Christmas as we also call him in the UK?
As you said, being jolly.
That's right. And let's listen now to James Lovell, who runs a Santa school at his company, Ministry of Fun in London. What does he say is the key?
A perfect ho-ho-ho is a key part of being a Father Christmas. It's a ho-ho-ho, and it needs to just reinforce the fact that you are the jolliest person on the planet. So I like to reach down into my tummy, tap it, and with a big smile on my face go, ho-ho-ho!
The perfect ho-ho-ho. You need that to reinforce the fact you are the jolliest person in the world.
To reinforce means to make something stronger. Ho, ho, ho!
Wow, Dan, you're very convincing. Are you sure you've never done this before?
I haven't, but I want to. It feels good. Ho, ho, ho!
It could be the ideal career move for you, Dan. But, you know what? I bet it's not all fun.
Maybe not. I think there would be a lot of pressure to perform. Pressure is the feeling of worry you can get when you're expected to deal with a difficult situation.
Yes, think of all the children you have to impress. Pressure indeed. Now let's hear from James Lovell again, who runs a Santa school in London.
Portraying Father Christmas is not an easy job, because when you're dressed as Father Christmas, you have a huge responsibility to recreate the magic of the real Santa in every way. You need to look good, you need to have lots to say, and you need to be incredibly jolly, and you need to have magical eyes.
So it seems I was right. Portraying Father Christmas is not an easy job. Portraying meaning playing the part of, like an actor does.
He says there's a huge responsibility to recreate the magic of the real Santa. To recreate means to make something exist again.
All those kids expecting that magical moment, and it's all down to you as Santa. I'm beginning to have second thoughts about this career change.
Could you handle the pressure?
I'm not sure I could. Portraying Father Christmas might be a challenge too far, despite my ho-ho-ho.
Now it's time to find out the answer to our quiz question. I asked how many Santas there are in the world. A, 1,500, B, 15,000. C, 15 million.
And I said B, 15,000.
And you were wrong. I'm afraid it was a trick question. There is, of course, only one Santa.
That's not fair.
Sorry. Shall we have a recap of the vocabulary?
Yes, please. That would make me jolly again.
Jolly, meaning happy and smiley. What makes you jolly, Dan?
Christmas, of course. Now, Neil, I have to say, cheating me out of that quiz question was really not in the spirit of 6-Minute English. We're always nice to each other.
Yes, you're probably right. Spirit here has the sense of something's real meaning. The spirit of 6-Minute English is friendly, educational fun, not cheating your colleagues.
Glad we've got that straight. Our next word is candidate. Until you made me think about how hard it is to be a good Santa, I thought I'd be a strong candidate for the job.
A candidate is a person competing for a job. Next, we had reinforce.
Reinforce means to make something stronger. Repeating the vocabulary in 6-Minute English reinforces your ability to remember it.
That's right, and it puts you under less pressure when you're speaking English if you have a good range of vocabulary.
Pressure is the feeling of worry you can get when you're expected to deal with a difficult situation, like pretending to be Santa. Yes, there's lots of pressure involved in portraying somebody else.
Portraying, meaning playing the part of someone, like an actor does. It can be very difficult to get it right.
Yep, it's a real skill to be able to recreate the look and character of another person. Recreate, meaning to make something exist again.
Well, we'll try our best to recreate a positive learning experience for you all next time on 6-Minute English. Until then, don't forget to check out our YouTube, Facebook, Twitter and Instagram pages.
6-Minute English.
From BBC Learning English.
Hello, I'm Neil and welcome to 6-Minute English, where today we bring you a serious topic and 6 items of vocabulary.
And hello, I'm Rob. Now, here's a serious question for you, Neil. Have you thought about what you'd like to happen when you die?
Oh, interesting way to start the show, Rob. No, I haven't.
Well, nobody really likes to talk about death, do they?
Well, it isn't a fun topic, so can we talk about something else, please?
Afraid not, because today's topic is funerals. A funeral is a ceremony we hold for a dead person.
And a ceremony is a formal event performed on special occasions, like a wedding or a graduation, or in this case, a funeral.
OK, well, let's start with a quiz question. According to a UK survey, how many of us would like our funerals to be more of a party or celebration? Is it A, 5%, B, 25%, or C, 50%?
Well, I think it's 25%. I hadn't thought about it before, but I definitely prefer my funeral to be a celebration, with my favourite music playing and definitely nobody wearing black.
Well, strangely enough, a friend of mine went to a funeral recently where the funeral director was dressed as Darth Vader from Star Wars.
That sounds wrong. But I guess people are choosing to move away from the traditional funeral. You know, in church, people dressed in black, all very quiet.
Darth Vader does wear black, at least. Anyway, let's hear from Shoni Sullivan here in the UK talking about the fancy dress funeral she and her sister organised for their mother.
It was quite unusual as we turned up in fancy dress.
Had your mum left any instructions about how she wanted her funeral to be?
Only that we don't cry and we're to have a party, just celebrate her life, be happy, don't be sad. I was a witch.
How did you look?
Oh, it was just like a little black dress and I just had like a little fancy witch hat on, same as my sister. And we had a very close friend of the family come as Beetlejuice, which was absolutely amazing. He really did go all out for that.
So, fancy dress, special clothes you wear to an event, to look like a famous person or character from a movie. Another word we use is costume, which is a set of clothes you wear to look like somebody else.
Shoni and her sister chose a Halloween theme for the funeral and wore witches' costumes, little black dresses with special hats.
A close family relative dressed as Beetlejuice. Did he dress as a squashed insect, Neil? I'm a bit confused here.
No, Rob. He dressed as Beetlejuice, the main character in a popular 1980s movie. Beetlejuice is a ghost who wears crazy clothes and has scary hair and makeup.
I haven't seen the film, but what does Shoni mean when she says her relative went all out with his costume?
To go all out means to make a big effort. And this guy's costume involved not only special clothes, but special hair and makeup too.
Ah, like me.
What do you mean, like me?
Well, I go all out to get my clothes and hair just right for 6 Minute English.
Yes, and, well, you look great, Rob, but unfortunately, nobody sees us, do they?
Ah, yes, good point. But it's important to make an effort.
So, have you had any thoughts about the sort of funeral you would like to have?
Oh, yes, I like the thought of my friends and family saying their final goodbyes to me on a beach with a beautiful sunset, listening to Stairway to Heaven by Led Zeppelin.
OK, well, before you get too carried away with ideas for your own funeral, let's have the answer to today's quiz question.
To get carried away means to get very excited and lose control of your feelings. I never thought I would get excited about my own funeral. But anyway, yes, back to today's question. How many of us would like our funerals to be more of a party or celebration? Is it A, 5%, B, 25%, or C, 50%?
And I said 25%.
No, it's actually 50%. The market research company ICN found that half of us here in the UK would prefer something different to the traditional funeral.
More than I expected. OK, shall we look back at the words we have learned today?
Yep. First up, funeral, a ceremony we hold for a dead person. The plural is funerals. Fancy dress funerals aren't everybody's cup of tea. The adjective is funereal. Notice the stress on the second syllable? Who chose this funereal music? Can we change it to something more cheerful?
Not my cup of tea, by the way, is something you don't enjoy doing.
OK. Ceremony, a formal event performed on special occasions.
I didn't go to my sister's graduation ceremony.
In the UK, the opening of Parliament is a ceremonious occasion. Ceremonious is the adjective.
Number 3. Fancy dress is special clothing you wear to an event. For example, to look like a famous person or character from a movie.
I've been invited to a fancy dress party.
Oh, who are you going as, Rob?
It's a secret, Neil.
Number 4. Costume. A set of clothes you wear to look like somebody else. Rob is going to go to the fancy dress party in a Superman costume.
Ha! Good guess. Right, number 5. To go all out means to make a big effort.
We went all out this year with our Christmas decorations, with a life-size flashing Santa Claus and sleigh.
Ah, way to go, Neil. Number 6. The phrasal verb to get carried away means to get very excited and lose control of your feelings.
She got carried away and painted the whole house pink.
That must be Barbie's house.
Yep, and fancy dress is definitely Barbie's cup of tea. OK, that's all for today, but please remember to check out our Instagram, Twitter, Facebook and YouTube pages.
OK, bye-bye.
Goodbye.
6 Minute English.
From BBC Learning English.
Hello and welcome to 6 Minute English. I'm Alice.
And I'm Neil. Did you get all your Christmas shopping done, Alice?
I did, Neil. And I spent a small fortune. And that means a lot of money.
Well, I hate buying all those presents that people just don't really want.
Oh, Neil, you grumpy old Scrooge. And I hope you realise that the subject of today's show is Christmas kindness.
Oh, dear. I might be grumpy, and that means bad-tempered, but I'm not a Scrooge. I don't mind spending money. I just don't know what to buy people. Ebenezer Scrooge is the main character in Charles Dickens's novel, A Christmas Carol. He's a miser. And that means someone who loves money but hates spending it.
Indeed. Well, on the subject of A Christmas Carol, Neil, at the end of the story, what does Scrooge buy the Cratchit family for Christmas dinner? Is it A, a goose, B, a turkey, or C, a chicken?
Well, I haven't read the book, so I'm going to guess A, a goose.
Well, we'll find out later if you chose the right answer. Now, Neil, I agree that Christmas shopping can sometimes feel pointless. But we mustn't forget what a magical time Christmas is for young children.
Well, that's true. I remember how hard it was to get to sleep on Christmas Eve, worrying that Santa Claus would get stuck in our chimney.
Yes, well, Eve means the day before something. In this case, Christmas Day. Parents tell their children that Santa Claus, an imaginary old man with a white beard and red clothes, will bring them presents at Christmas time. In the UK, children believe that Santa comes down the chimney to get into the house.
But it's not all fun. Increasing numbers of people these days are struggling for money at this time of year. Having enough food to feed their families is what matters most, and buying presents comes further down the list. So let's listen now to a BBC Scotland report by Laura Maxwell. She's talking about a special event with lots of presents.
Thank you very much. Beatrice Cadell has just celebrated her 80th birthday, and instead of presents for her, she asked her friends to buy toys.
Everyone that turned up for that birthday day were absolutely brilliant, absolutely brilliant. And if it's going for something like this, it's even better. It's even better, you know. Somebody else can benefit. We don't need it. We're old.
So, Beatrice is celebrating her birthday and she told friends and family to buy toys instead of presents for her.
Right, she had the generous idea of donating or giving the toys to a toy bank, a place where toys are given away free to people in need. The toy bank then distributed Beatrice's toys to parents who couldn't afford to buy presents for their children at Christmas.
Yes, so Beatrice is happy that children can benefit or be helped by her. She says she doesn't need presents. A woman after your own heart, Neil.
Indeed, and that means Beatrice has the same opinion as me. Well, that's a great example of Christmas charity. And charity means giving free help to people who need it.
Yes, and here's another example, Neil. Last year in London, 20 tons of presents were donated, wrapped and delivered to a local hospital to cheer up sick children who couldn't go home for Christmas.
Were they delivered in Santa's sleigh?
No, Neil. They were delivered in a big double-decker bus. Let's hear about the volunteers who made this happen.
Lots of different groups of people can come together under the banner of kindness. So religious people come together, corporate people come together, young people, old people. It seems to be something that stretches across many, many, many different demographics.
Under the banner of kindness. What does that mean, Alice?
Well, being under the banner of something means being part of a group who are united in support for an idea. And in this case, different people came together to do something kind for sick children.
And demographics, what's that?
Demographics means statistical information about a population and the groups of people in it. People from different groups in society are working together. The old and the young, religious people, corporate or business people.
And this talk of kindness is making me feel more in the mood for Christmas.
Oh, I can see that, Ebenezer. You've got a smile on your face. Now, earlier in the show, I asked, at the end of the story, what does Scrooge buy the Cratchit family for Christmas dinner? Is it A, a goose, B, a turkey, or C, a chicken?
And I said A, a goose.
Yes, and you were wrong, Neil. The answer is B, a turkey.
That makes me a goose.
It certainly does. Scrooge buys the Cratchit family a prize turkey. Delicious! A Christmas Carol is a lovely story. Everybody should read it.
And did you know that although turkeys are traditional Christmas food now, they weren't in Dickens's time?
Oh, I see.
No, they were exotic back then, and that means unusual because it comes from another country. The story was written in 1843. Now, how about hearing the words we learned today, Alice?
They are a small fortune, grumpy, miser, Eve, Santa Claus, donating, toy bank, benefit, after your own heart, charity, under the banner of something, demographics, exotic.
Well, that's the end of today's 6 Minute English. Merry Christmas, everybody.
Merry Christmas.
Please join us again soon. Goodbye.
Goodbye.
6 Minute English.
From BBC Learning English.
Hello and welcome to 6 Minute English. I'm Neil.
And I'm Alice. My chair feels uncomfortable today. How does yours feel?
Oh, mine's fine. Very comfortable, thank you.
Well, it would be nice if you offered to give me your chair, Neil.
What? No chance. Well, I would be uncomfortable then, wouldn't I?
You should give me your seat, Neil.
Should I? Well, now might be a good time to mention that chivalry is the subject of today's show.
Chivalry these days means polite behaviour, usually by men towards women.
Though, in the past, it referred to a code of behaviour followed by knights in the Middle Ages. It was all about honour and courage in battle, and only later on about being polite to the ladies. Well, we aren't living in the Middle Ages anymore, are we?
No comment. Let's go for our traditional question. I have a literary one for you today. Who wrote the novel Don Quixote about a 50-year-old man travelling Spain in search of knightly adventures in rusty armour and a cardboard helmet? Was it A. Miguel de Cervantes, B. Leo Tolstoy, or C. William Shakespeare?
I think I'm going to get it right today, Alice. I'm going to say A. Miguel de Cervantes.
Well, we'll find out later on in the show if you're right or not. But first, do you think chivalry is dead, Neil?
No, not at all. These traditions are alive and kicking. In Poland, at any rate. If something is alive and kicking, it means it's active. The BBC reporter Adam Easton saw it with his own eyes and is going to describe it for us.
Medieval knights tournaments, battle reenactments, are popular across Europe. But there's something about dressing up as a knight that particularly appeals to people here in Poland. In the summer, there's events every weekend. And here in Malbork, northern Poland, home to Europe's largest medieval castle, there's one of the biggest of the season. There's archery, crossbow, jousting, other horse skills, and more than 100,000 people come to watch these tournaments.
The BBC reporter Adam Easton. By the way, what's a reenactment, Neil?
It's where you perform the actions of a past event. And in Malbork, in Poland, they stage battle reenactments every weekend, apparently, at least in the summer months.
It doesn't sound like my cup of tea. And that means it doesn't sound like something I would enjoy doing. How about you, Neil?
Well, I'm not sure about the archery, crossbow and jousting. It all sounds like too much hard work. But I'd definitely enjoy the dressing up.
Excellent. Well, jousting is where two people fight on horseback using a lance or long pole to try to knock the other person off their horse, especially as part of a tournament or sporting event. So, with the dressing up, Neil, I'm curious. I can't imagine you as a knight in shining armour, to be honest.
Come on, Alice. I'd look very appealing to any damsel in distress. A damsel in distress is a young unmarried woman in need of help.
OK, you might make a very fetching or attractive knight, Neil, but you should get used to actually helping the ladies. Maybe offering me your seat? I'm still sitting uncomfortably here.
Come on, Alice. A knight needs to sit comfortably too. We've always been the ones with battles to fight.
But at some point in the history of chivalry, prowess or skill on the battlefield became combined with a set of conventions or rules governing other aspects of behaviour. This included a knight's moral and religious duties and how to conduct their love affairs. Professor Laura Ash at Oxford University explains.
The really strange thing is the idea that love should somehow make you a better knight. I mean, this is what is suddenly claimed in the late 12th century, and it makes very little sense. You know, if you imagine a footballer telling his teammates that being in love makes him a better footballer.
That was Professor Laura Ash, and I agree with her. What has being a great footballer or a great warrior got to do with love?
Well, courtly love was a social code governing behaviour between aristocratic men and women that developed at the same time and amongst the same people as chivalry, and the two became intertwined, or hard to separate from then on.
And aristocrats are people of high social rank. OK, Alice, I think it's time you told us the answer to today's quiz question.
Good idea. OK, I asked, who wrote the novel Don Quixote about a 50-year-old man travelling Spain in search of knightly adventures in rusty armour and a cardboard helmet? Was it A. Miguel de Cervantes, B. Leo Tolstoy, or C. William Shakespeare?
And I said A. Miguel de Cervantes.
And you were right.
Hey!
Well done. Don Quixote was written by Miguel de Cervantes and published in 1605. It's a comic novel which describes what happens to an elderly knight who, his head muddled by reading too many romances, sets out on his old horse with his companion Sancho Panza to seek adventure.
Very interesting, Alice. Now, can we hear the words we learned today?
Sure. They are chivalry, alive and kicking, reenactment, My cup of tea. Jousting. Lance. Tournament. Fetching. Damsel in distress. Prowess. Conventions. Courtly love. Intertwined. Aristocrats.
Well, that's the end of today's 6 Minute English. Please join us again soon. And by the way, Alice, would you like my chair? It's very comfortable.
Oh, thank you, now that the programme is over, Neil.
Better late than never. Goodbye.
Bye-bye.
6 Minute English.
From BBC Learning English.